What a flourish. Who wrote that? I think that was Berlioz. It was a Bizet. What do I know? This is Liam Scheff. You're listening to the Liam Scheff Show. I've got so much material. Let's see how long the bike ride. I took a really long bike ride. Let's see. Let's write in the sunrise, natural, sunrise, natural foods. Let's get a map. All right. Do we have that? No, no, I don't know where. No, not sunshine. Listen to me. Listen to me, internet. Do what I want. Am I getting the wrong name? I'm going to look this up in Florida. Let's see. And, that's right. That's the mistake that I made. Simply Natural. So I went up to Simply Natural and let's map it. Hopefully I don't lose connections, making the computer do three things at once. Come on. Hello, computer. Hello, computer. Almost there, and then we'll get to the show. Don't worry. Don't worry. I just want to know, how many miles did I do today? Nice. 17. All right. 17 sweaty miles later. Is this thing on? You're listening to the Liam Scheff Show on UCY Radio. You can go to the chat room. I certainly won't be going to the chat room. I'm doing a show. I mean, what do you think? I got time to read what you say. Anyway, go to the chat room and have fun. I have things to do. It's a balmy day down here in South Florida. It was really a perfect day. I mean, it was a perfect South Florida day. You're gonna say that it was sunny. No, wrong, bad dog. It was exactly not that. It was high, voluminous cumulonimbus clouds, whatever those are called, the big puffy cotton candy clouds, a lot of them. And some other ones that are sort of Stradivarius clouds and the Salieri clouds and the Mozart clouds and all the kinds of clouds. And no cross-cutting clouds, none of that fake cloud stuff that comes out of the back of planes. No, real clouds, really beautiful, sculpted, whatever. The magic of clouds. How do millions of tons of water float above the Earth? Why? Electromagnetic push-off from the planet. Water is a dipolar. H2O is dipolar, it's two poles. And it has a slight charge. I think it's a negative charge, but I might be wrong. Let's see, H, and H would be negative and O would be positive. So that would make a negative charge. Anyway, there's a slight charge and clouds repel electromagnetically. At least this is the argument put forward by Wall Thornhill, which I tend to buy, which you can read in chapter 9 of my book, Official Stories. Big, heavy clouds. These are millions of tons of water floating above our heads, trillions of tons of water floating above our heads. How do they do it? There they are, because it's an electromagnetic world. They have a slight negative charge. I don't know what the word would be, but repellation isn't a word. But you understand what I'm saying. Anyway, they're slightly repelling. They're slightly repellent, and the Earth doesn't want to have anything to do with them, so they float. So it's this perfect day. And look, I got a list of things to get to. We have collagen, sex, drugs, rock and roll, trying to bring back the record album. I'm just on a one-man crusade to bring back the record album because I listened to 2 Steely Dan albums in a row while I was biking, and I just don't even understand why we don't listen to albums anymore. I mean, singles remind me of kisses, but albums remind me of plans. 25 cents if you know that. And the clouds are high, and there's a mist right over the sun, so you can look at the sun, and it looks like a really bright moon. This is a perfect South Florida day, because you will not get third-degree burns just for being in the sun for a little while. You will not come back with blisters on your fingers. I've got blisters on my fingers! That won't happen. And so I got to bike, and I went along all these canals, and I know all the shortcuts because I've done it so many times. But I found a new one. And I got another mile or so, mile and a half on an inland canal, and along these canals you have what do you have? It's mango season down here. Not that little guy from Saturday Night Live, but mango. Not that guy, but mango trees, which are maybe the most beautiful trees I've ever seen. And this is the first year that I've been down here when they've been in bloom. These are big canopy trees. They're gorgeous. And you don't know what they are until they start putting out all these like 1.5, 2 pound, oblong green fruit, heavy fruit. And the whole tree is covered with these green things. You think, well, what are those? I guess those might, and then they turn purple, deep, kind of fuzzy purple. And you're like, this is amazing. This is gorgeous. Why don't we do this? Why are there any other trees down here than fruiting trees? The star fruit and the avocado and the mango. And suddenly I'm Italian. And then they turn red, like red. And then they turn red and yellow, and then they turn yellow-orange, and then they're on the ground at that point, and the lizards are eating them. There are no squirrels, or there are very few squirrels in southern Florida. There are lizards. There are trillions of lizards. There are trillions and trillions of lizards. If there were a food emergency, I'd be eating lizard for a while until I could, I don't know, get to the Walmart, because Walmart will never run out of food. Walmart makes food at night. So does Whole Foods. It just appears on the shelves. So it was a perfect biking day, and I got up to Simply Natural Cafe. I saw my old friend Richard, who does his own show down here, and we've been on the Robert Scott Bell show together, and we had a laugh or two. And I talked to him about my teeth and gums. I clenched my jaw. I've been clenching my jaw probably since I was a teenager because, I don't know. All right. So it was a perfect biking day, and I spent a little time there. I came back. I'll tell a little more about what happened there, but I came back and there was a little breeze, not more than a couple miles per hour, but it was enough to make biking a little bit hard on the way back. I tell you, I rarely stopped pedaling. I don't know what got into me. I don't know if it was what I had for lunch, which was black. They're not lentils. They look like mung beans. I got them at the Indian store. They're black, essentially mung beans, with seaweed that I cooked, really hot. Medium hot curry, sauerkraut that I made, an avocado, I think, and yeah, and at the end I had a couple of those little mini bananas. Now down here in Florida you can get mini bananas. I recommend getting the mini bananas because they're not as inbred as these terrible, sexless clone bananas that are just all the same. I don't care if they're organic or not; they're all the same. And the difference between an organic banana and a non-organic banana, I guess, is a little bit of pesticides on the outside. But they gas them all. They pick them all green and they gas them with ethane or something, ethylene. I know there's a difference between ethane and ethylene. Don't ask me what it is right now. All right. So I'm up there and I'm talking about my... Oh, right. I didn't do the proper introduction yet. This is the Liam Scheff Show on UCY TV. Make sure to listen to UCY for Truth or Talk and all the other great shows, like the crazy show that I've been on Saturday night sometimes that I can't remember the name of right now, but they're a lot of fun. I'm telling you, go listen on Saturday night. It's wild. Like the drunkest people I've ever spoken with call in on that show, and they just answer. And they know them. And they're a nice couple I like. I can't remember their name right now. I'm just bad with that. But it's Saturday night on UCY TV. Just go to UCY TV and look it up. The show's also simulcasting, or not at the same simulcast, but a later cast on one of my other favorite networks called Truth Frequency Radio with my friend Popeye and Joe Joseph and Chris and Cherie. So big hellos to all of them. Bob's your uncle, etc., etc. How's your father? You can find my webpage, liamscheff.com. You can ask me what I'm doing on Facebook. And if you're like somebody today who curses at me, I'll just say goodbye, and you won't be there anymore. So I'm talking to my friend, Richard Pearl, who does the show Pearls of Health, or Pearls of Wisdom, or Pearls Before Swine, something like that, on the local Florida talk station. So he does that, and I've been on that show a dozen times. And I'm saying, so what do I do for my teeth? And before I know it, he's doing exactly what he does. He talks me into buying like $140 worth of vitamins, right? So he gives me a big markdown from what it says on the bottle, but I don't know what the markup is, but whatever. So I buy all this stuff. And he says, and you need to take food grade hydrogen peroxide. I say, well, why do I do it? To oxygenate. All right, fine. So I pour, he says, oh, you don't take much of that. You want like 2 drops. And I pour it into the cap. And this is like a half gallon, it's a big, is it a half gallon? It's a quart. No, it's bigger than that. So it might be a half gallon container probably, because I biked back with it. It was heavy. It's about 3.5 pounds. And and I'm biking back with that, and this big thing of like natto for the vitamin K, and then these two vitamin and it's stuff I would never take, but Richard's like, you have to take this. No, whatever, I'll take it. Uh, and 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 I pour the hydrogen peroxide, which is like 30. I don't know anything about. It's 35% hydrogen peroxide. He goes, don't drink that. And I poured it into some water, and he said, let me get you some water. I said, no, it's fine. I got 3 ounces of water, and I poured in. He said, don't put in that capful. I said, I won't. I just poured in. I probably poured in an eighth of the cap, which probably was about 25 drops. Now I know that on the little instruction thing it says put in 3 drops and work your way up to 10. I'm just going to tell you right now, my stomach's a little rumbly, but it's not as. What if that was it? It just went silent. That was like the last anybody heard from me. It was hydrogen peroxide. Anyway, don't take a lot of 35% food grade vitamin peroxide. That's all I'm going to say. So I'm working on the teeth. My problem is twofold. I grind my teeth. I don't mean to, and it's not sexual repression because I had a lot of sex and I was still grinding my teeth. Before you have, because I used to bite on ice, like when I was growing up. I like to chew ice, and I think it was stress, and I think it was no. Just hold on a sec. I think it was stress, and I think that I was overly young, yang, too much heat, too much animal food, too much animal energy, just too hot. And I was always hot. My hands were always hot. I'd have a lot of fevers. So I changed my diet in my teen years to be a vegetarian and to be cooler, to eat lower on the food chain, which I recommend. I don't recommend being a vegan. I recommend eating lower on the food chain, not to just please my vegan friends, but lower on the food chain. You can't be a vegan forever. I've never met anybody who was a vegan forever. So just low on the food chain, try to be local, et cetera, et cetera. But when I was young, I was hot and I liked chewing on ice. But I also ate a lot of meat, a lot of steak and bacon and fried crap, and that makes you very hot. Animal energy, tight, youngizing, heating, contractile energy makes you very, very warm. So I would chew on ice, and I would like people would say, "Oh, you're sexually repressed." I'm like, "I'm 12. Of course, I'm sexually repressed, assholes." So I think I realized the reason. I think I realized the reason that I've been. So I think I always clenched my jaw, is what I'm saying. And I think that I was just somebody who would clench his jaw because the world's like kind of screwed up and it would bother me. And the way that I would deal with it, when I ate a lot of bread, my back would get tight, but I don't eat bread anymore, so my back doesn't get tight. All right, that's pure macrobiotics. You eat a lot of baked stuff, you suck the water out of it, you surround it with radiant, dry heat, and you eat that. Your body has kind of the same effect. You feel it the same way. Your mouth gets dry and then your muscles get tight and you would have knots in your back. Well, I don't eat bread. Guess what I don't get? Knots in my back. Did I just save you a million trips to the doctor, the chiropractor? You're welcome. Go to my PayPal page. Go to my webpage and put $20 in the PayPal. Thank you. I'm serious. If you don't want tight backs, if you don't want tight muscles, don't eat dry, hard, crusty, baked, deep fried things. Guess what you won't have? If you want looser, more fluid muscles, guess what you eat? You eat like a Thailandese person. You eat like a Thai person. You eat like a Southern Japanese person. You eat a Korean person. You eat everything in broth. You eat everything in hot liquid, hot, mildly spicy liquid with some salt, some vinegar. Why? Why? Because it loosens. It hydrates. And you put hot water through your body. It dilates your capillaries. Your lymph nodes open. You sweat a little bit. It's diaphoretic. If you want to be a dry, uptight English or German person, Norwegian, you eat a lot of dry, hard, baked stuff, and your body is screaming, "I'm so tight. I'm so tight. I'm so tight." So what do you have to do? You have to go drink booze just to loosen up. You have to go drink the hardest booze, like booze made out of like shark fin, booze made out of a potato and rice. You have to drink pure grain alcohol just to get your body to unclench. Well, I recommend eating in the middle. And it's generally worked for me, but I grind my teeth. Now, I don't have any cavities, but my teeth are kind of they're getting to be a little bit of a mess because my gums are high. Because when you push your teeth really hard, you push up the gums, and then a little bacteria gets in and eats the gums a little higher. It's not the worst that I've seen on the internet, where the pictures of people's gums are like at the top of their head. But it ain't great. I'm 44. I want to try to make it I'd like to make it into my 60s. I'm just saying I'd like to make it into my 60s. I don't really have high hopes to make I don't give much of a damn about making it into my 80s. I don't know why you'd want to make it into your 80s. This world is crazy. This world is asinine. I still want to be strong and functional when I leave. I don't want to like, 20 sad years, thinking about what was. Give me unless I'm writing or doing art. I don't know. I don't think I want that. So, 68, what if 69, huh? Funny age to die. All right. Anyway, that'd be a great age to die. 69. I know that's an immature joke, but just think about it. It would be funny. So I'm talking to my friend up there, and he gives me this stuff. And now let me reach. Hold on. Hold on. He gives me a bottle of this thing called Ubiquinol. Ubiquinol. CoQH, active forms of coenzyme Q10. Now let's read the ingredients. Dried bread. No, I'm just kidding. Rice bran oil, gelatin, boo. Whatever. Glycerin, boo. Beeswax, all right. Purified water. Soy lecithin, does it say non-GMO on it? Rosemary extract, antimicrobial, mixed tocopherols, those are supportive enzymes, vitamins, I'm not sure. Something, da-da-da, and turmeric. So there you go. And that's the non-active ingredient. And then the active ingredient is ubiquinol, or Kaneka. And I don't know what it is. So feel free to write me on, and I usually don't take stuff that I don't know what it is, but this guy's my friend, so I took it. I don't usually take stuff that I don't know what it is. So you can go to my Facebook page and tell me. The other stuff I'm doing to rebuild my gums is I tried some bone broth. I haven't eaten intentionally animal food, like a big mammal food, for 23, 4 years, 25 years. So this was chicken bone broth from, they're like ayahuasca chickens, ayahuasca, anaconda. It looks like anaconda and ayahuasca, and I don't remember. But anyway, it's or a Rhode Island red. And apparently it's the feet and like the combs, and it's just like the worst. So I had some of that, and I mixed it with the food that I normally make, which are like curries and, lentil curries and pasta and, a lot of curry and oregano and greens when I'm in a place where I can afford the greens. And I ate it. I went through the day, and then with one, I made it twice, and with one slurp of it, I really tasted the chicken. And if there's one animal that's made me stop eating meat that I would have gladly given up, it was chicken. I think chicken just isn't a good taste. I had too much of it. I don't like it. It tastes like, I don't know, death is too strong a word, right? It's just, it ain't good. I don't know. There's something very wrong with it. There's something very wrong with chicken. I don't like the taste of chicken. And I tasted it, and I just didn't feel happy about it. I also got some of these ayahuasca, ayuranda, raw anaconda eggs. I don't remember what they're called. It's a kind of chicken. You can look it up. It's like ayahuasca. Anyway, they're pretty birds. They're gorgeous. I mean, for chickens, they're really good-looking birds with a bigger wingspan. Donald Trump has a large wingspan. It's a bird. It has a wingspan. And I think these guys can almost fly. Not quite, which is pathetic. I mean, this is one of the problems with chickens. This is why I don't like eating them. They're clearly an inbred animal, right? So I went to the Whole Foods, and they had these quail eggs, and they're kind of beautiful. They're mottled in colors of brown, and you think, well, I'd rather eat one of those. But these eggs are actually blue or green. They're slightly green, blue-green. And they're lovely. And you think, wow, nature's kind of wonderful. I've eaten a couple of those, or 3, and I ate the shells of like 2 of them just to see what would happen, and nothing really happens. Just, hurts a little bit. What else am I doing? I'm taking some calcium. It's a food-based calcium, but I don't know if it's any good. And I'm doing a lot of oil pulling, and I'm using baking soda. And the most important thing I did was I stopped brushing my teeth like I was trying to saw a piece of wood. Because I've been brushing like an idiot. I really have. I take the toothbrush, and I just don't care how old or beaten up the toothbrush is, if it's essentially barbed wire. And I put whatever on it. Usually, if I didn't have toothpaste, I would just use salt or baking soda. And I just sort of rub, and I'm right-handed, so slightly ambidextrous, but I use my right hand for brushing, and I just shove it up. So guess which side, of course, I've lost more gum on. Well, on the left side where I'm brushing up at an angle. Man, I'm just sawing away that gum. Really stupid. I also don't like going to doctors because they're asshole. Well, they're not all. Some of them are okay, but they're programmed to be idiots, and they're not allowed to know anything. And I've had doctors that I liked, and I tell you why I liked them. They treated me as an equal. I can speak their language. I read their papers. I understand what they're talking about. None of it's strange or, I'm not an alien. None of it's alien to me. I grew up in a family of doctors, scientists, and researchers. This was the constant form of discussion at every get-together and at every non-get-together, and my mother's endless phone conversations were always about medicine. You're listening to the Liam Scheff Show on UCY TV and Truth Frequency Radio, talking about doctors, dentists, and what to do to heal gums. So I've been brushing very badly, and I listened to the dentist. I didn't like going to the dentist because I never had any problems. So like, why do I don't have any problems. I'm not giving you I'm not giving you money for nothing. Well, I became aware that I was grinding my teeth in my first one of my first, sexual relationships. I don't know if she was a girlfriend. She might have been. And she said, your teeth click. You smack your teeth. You grind your teeth. I said, no, who would do that? Why would anybody do that? I said, not remembering that I chewed on ice, not remembering that I would flex and, clench my jaw to show disapproval when I was a teenager. I think, well, who would do that? And I realized, oh my God, I do. And I would try to open my mouth wide, and it would be so tight, it would hurt. So I thought, okay. So I eventually went to a dentist, and I paid them to put like crap in my mouth, and they made a molding of my teeth, and then they gave me this rubber thing to put in my mouth, and I wore it like for an hour, and I took it out, and I never wore it again because I didn't like it. I don't know if I should have worn it. I don't know. Anyway, that was a long time ago, and it's about 20 years. It's truly about 20 years later, and I'm going to have to regrow some gum if I can. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. I knew I could. And I'm going to have to put some minerals back in my teeth. So I'm taking some calcium, and I'm taking that stuff that I just said, and I'm going to take natto for the vitamin K. Definitely want the vitamin K. I used to eat more natto, but I stopped because of Fukushima, Japan. But I'm going to eat natto. I got to find some local natto. And I don't know, I sort of rolled the dice a little and bought this big container of natto extract. And I hope it's from southern Japan. I don't know. But I like natto. I mean, natto does taste like dirty socks. And they taste like dirty socks smell. They do. It does. It's a stinky winky. I mean, natto is tough stuff. And it's even tougher to eat. So I think it's even tougher to eat the kind in the little, that comes in the container, because it's covered in, natto is fermented, really old fermented soybeans. And it forms a mucilagenic slime. You have to eat it with a lot of the hottest mustard on earth, like mustard that, spontaneously combusts, just you have to eat it with this to cut through the slime. And then it's pretty good. And the reason it's good, I think, isn't that it tastes good. The reason it's good is this thing that your body does. When your body likes something, it goes, oh, that was good, you're going to have more of that. And your head goes, I didn't like that. And your body goes, yeah, you do. And you do. It's that simple. Your body tells your head what it likes. I didn't like mustard growing up. Maybe I don't know. But then suddenly, somewhere in my teens, I couldn't get enough of this stuff. Well, what is in mustard? Vinegar, which you need for your liver. You need sour. Turmeric, which you need for everything. Mustard seed, these are essentially all antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, pro-healing. So at a certain point, your body goes, you're going to have this. Another thing I always hated, which is so vile to me to this day, is mayonnaise. I'd rather have. It looks exactly that's what I think it is. It looks like somebody walked up to your hamburger and just went. Honestly, tell me, it just never looked. I don't want no. I don't want no. I also have a problem of eating milk products with the animal that gave the milk that you murdered. I'm not trying to be too ethical about it or whatever, too vegan-y about it, but that's psychotic. Hey, I'm going to kill. Hey, let me milk you. Hey, let me cut your head off. Hey, let me rip inside your body and take out some of your flesh. Hey, let me boil the part of your body that I ripped out in the milk that I stole. Just not into it. You know what I mean? It's just too much. It's too much. Drink a little milk, have some eggs, eat low in the food chain, eat a few fish. You know, rabbits are good, and they lay chocolate eggs. Aren't those eggs? I don't know what those are. You're listening to the Liam Scheff Show on UCY TV and Truth Frequency Radio. We'll be back after this short announcement from our sponsors, which include me, Liam Scheff. And we're back. Wasn't that a short vacation? So I wanted to find out what foods made collagen. And I had an idea, and I was right about a lot of it. I didn't know that eggs contained, but it makes sense. I've eaten a couple eggs, and it didn't really bother me, especially the yolks. The yolks feel like they're more nutritionally valid or sound than the whites. Whites think that they own everything. Whites just walk in like they invented the place. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The egg whites. Anyway, egg whites to me, you can get the same thing from tofu. You can get the same thing from any protein source. But the yolks, this is the placenta. It is disgusting, but this is the placenta for a future bird. Oh, bird. So what you want to do is, what the chicken's, going to do is give an allotment, a dowry, an inheritance to its offspring of incredibly nutrient-rich fluid, semi-solids, and that's the yolk. And I've always said through my macrobiotic point of view that animal foods are building foods. That if you're depleted, and I probably have allowed myself to get depleted in many ways, because I just, I'm 5'9" and change, and it's really difficult for me to get under 170, and I'm not fat. It's just I build muscle like there's no tomorrow. It's very easy. No matter what I eat, I build muscle. I don't know why. My body is expert at taking proteins out of the air and building muscle. And I don't know. It's just I never really thought about going without for a while, or I was like, well, my body will supply it. When I was a teenager, I was like the strongest person. If a rock needed to, hey, go get Scheff, make him move that rock. Okay. They put a chain on it and I would drag it and it would move. And people were like, how did you do that? I don't know. I just thought about it and I did it. So it was really strong, especially for my size. Again, 5'8" in high school, 5'9" and change now. I'm still strong, but I'm not that strong. I stopped eating all that meat and that tense stuff. I don't have back problems. I don't have a tense back and shoulder like I always did. I'm not in constant pain in my neck. I don't need to pound on my back all the time like I used to. So being a vegetarian, or mostly vegetarian, I know what I just said. I had bone broth. This is a big change for me. But I just never had any problem being strong. Like I bike 18, 19 miles today and I feel great. I can do that kind of thing. I can also lay in bed and watch pornography, but that's a different show. That's a different story. So I needed to find out what would make collagen. I have a great list here. Hold on a second. Hold on. And okay, we're back. This is the Liam Scheff Show on UCY TV and Truth Frequency Radio, natural sources of collagen. So I'm here on livestrong.com, which is Lance Armstrong. And I don't care what you tell me, Lance Armstrong won all of those awards because everybody else was on those drugs too. Give him back the awards. Screw you. He won them. He did the biking. I don't care. It's professional sports. Everybody's on drugs. Everybody's taking supplements. Whatever. He won them. I still respect him. I always did and I always will. Oh, boo-hoo, the guy who didn't take those drugs didn't even get into the competition. Everybody who goes into professional sports is constantly taking immune, muscle, skeletal, collagen, whatever, tendon enhancing everything all the time. That's the name of that stupid game. I don't care about professional sports, but I do admire Lance Armstrong because he won the Tour de France wasn't it 7 times? I don't care if he was on cocaine for the entire trip. He won the Tour de France like 7 times. He won them. They shouldn't have taken that shit away from him. Yeah, I have feelings about that. It bugs me. It bugs me because everybody else was cheating too. If nobody else was cheating and he was the first guy who cheated, I guess I'd have a problem with it. But he still did it. It's not like he cheated and got the answers in, like that guy who on that 21, that fake game show from the 50s or 60s. It wasn't like somebody phoned the answers into his ear. He pedaled that bike for 6, 7 Tour de France and won. Oh, but shut up. All right, so I'm here on livestrong.com and I'm reading about collagen. Collagen is a type of, okay, why collagen? Because I want to rebuild. I want to strengthen the collagen in my body. I want to regrow some gum tissue. And in order to do that, I got to get rid of the bacteria around the teeth. So I'm doing oil pulling. Well, the bacteria are attracted to the oil and they come off in the oil and you spit the oil out and you brush gently, 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 gently. Not across the gum, but down on the tooth and you can stimulate the gum. Boy, am I being careful now that I lost, a lot of gum material. Collagen is a type of protein that is used as connective and support tissue throughout the body, says Livestrong. According to Human Biochemistry and Disease, collagen makes up to 75% of our skin composition, 30% of our bodies overall. All right, how can it be? So collagen is a trihelical protein. I wrote about this in Official Stories, chapter 9, on the electric universe, and maybe another one. But collagen uses proline, is it glycine, proline, and any other amino acid. So you can get these amino acids from anywhere. Tofu, soybeans, milk. I don't like milk, but you can get it from there. Eggs, any kind of bean. Just mix them, nuts, seeds, etc., etc. Wheat. Anything that has amino acids, which is anything, you can get protein and build collagen. But if you eat heavily oxidizing meat, very high in the food chain, very acidic, you're wasting a lot of the energy digesting essentially ammonia. You're making ammonia in your body, which isn't a great idea. So don't go on a pure protein diet. Have some fat, have some carbohydrates, etc. All right. There are 4 types of collagen, although type 1 receives more attention from the cosmetic industry because it is present in our skin. Type 1 collagen helps firmness and elasticity to skin as sagging and wrinkling occur without it. Essential nutrients are needed for collagen production and can be obtained from natural sources. Collagen fibers are made from protein that has a high proportion of 2 amino acids called hydroxylysine, I'm just going to say lysine, and hydroxyproline. Well, hydroxy means hydrogenated, oxygenated, proline, hydrogenated, which means water and oxygen, lysine and proline. So you need lysine and proline, and your body will probably do the rest. These amino acids are important for formation of all types of collagen. Vitamin C is needed to convert the proline into hydroxyproline and lysine into hydroxyproline. So you need hydroxylysine. So you need vitamin C. Sodium ascorbate, calcium ascorbate, ascorbic acid, although that's hard on the teeth, and I've taken a lot of that, probably hurt my teeth a little, hurt my gums a little bit. Natural sources of lysine and proline, anything. Animal foods rich in protein, such as meat, chicken, and fish, are the primary blah, 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 blah. Egg whites are also blah, 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 blah. But what about anything else? Yeah, anything else. You can get lysine and proline from just about anything. Let's see, from plant foods, legumes are significant sources of lysine. What's a legume? Legume. It's a bean, the blue legume. Don't you remember? Brooke Shields, that other guy. Fresh fish, especially their hard tissue, arg, are rich in coenzyme Q10, which promotes collagen regeneration inside the body. Aha! So this is why my friend sold me this very expensive bottle of stuff with a rare form of blah, 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 CoQ10. And that's why people take CoQ10, because it helps create collagen. So you need vitamin C and CoQ10. I bet you can get all of these from foods, right? Of course you can. What else do you need? Hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid, let's see. What do you need that for? Vegetable sources. The best sources of hyaluronic acid is seaweeds, in particular kelp, although soy products. Yay, soy. I don't criticize soy the way some people do. Sweet potato, avocado, and mango. Was I not talking about mango or other good sources? And avocado. Hyaluronic acid is commonly found in animal cartilage, so chicken wings, or call it bone broth, and fish soup would be good animal sources. I didn't see what you need the hyaluronic acid for. I suppose you need it for the, sounds like a kind of colonic, right? A hyaluronic. Let's now get to the vegetarian sources of, here we go, foods highest in calcium, because you got to remake some bones. Listen, I'm not breaking bones, I'm carrying heavy loads, but I got to start thinking about this because I'm 44. What do you need to be healthy again? All right, let's go down the list. I'm at nutritionaldata.self. Yes, it's Self Magazine. Thank you. Thank you, Self. It's 10 secrets he doesn't know about your orgasm. Number 1, chives. Who cares? Number 2, radishes. Oriental. Was this written in the 40s? Did Henny Youngman write this? Oh yeah, Oriental radishes. I don't know who says Oriental radish anymore. We call it daikon. So dried daikon is a good source of calcium. Seaweed, agar, that's a kind of seaweed. It's like Irish moss, but it's actually even clearer and plainer. Celery flakes, fireweed, I don't know what that is. Grape leaves, love grape leaves. Don't get them, but I love them. Leeks, potatoes, love. Lamb's quarter, grape leaves. I already said that. They listed it twice. Epazote, don't get it. Lamb's quarters, lamb's quarters, lamb's quarters. Onions, okay, thank God. Something I eat. Winged bean leaves. Winged bean leaves? Who wrote this? Jute, pot herb. All right, something that we can get. Collards, mustard, spinach, amaranth, kale, soybeans, turnip greens. Love turnip greens. Have you ever made turnip greens? You go out in the field where turnips are growing, right? And you pull up all the wanky little turnips that aren't going to become anything. They're just roots. They're not even going to become turnips. They just look like, unformed carrots. They're so small. But they have a good head of greens on them. So you wash them because they're always going to be full of sand. Wash them really well in like 3 or 4. I mean, you chop them and then you wash them in 3 or 4 dousings and drainings of the whole pot of the water and wash out the sand at the bottom. Okay. Then you take the turnip greens and you put them in enough water just to cover them. You bring them to a boil, then you simmer them. You put in sea salt and any spices that you want. I like curry powders, which are turmeric, ginger, garlic, onion, clove, a little clove, fenugreek, sometimes a little cinnamon if you want that flavor in there. Just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit. Less than you. Cardamom, coriander are much more important than the cinnamon. Cardamom. If you only had cardamom, coriander, red pepper, black pepper, turmeric, and an onion and lemon. Oh my God! Just take an organic lemon, right, and just slice the yellow part off the rind, and just chop that like a good thimbleful, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. Throw that in. Anyway, cook that. Bring it to a boil, and then cook it for an hour. Cook it for 90 minutes. You might have to add a little more water until the turnip greens just become like mush, and then let it come to warm, and then eat it. And tell me it's not the. Oh, you need oil. So you're going to want either sesame oil, olive oil, or coconut oil. Sesame oil, olive oil, coconut oil in there. I'm going to go with olive oil because And don't buy cheap yellow olive oil. Never do that. Don't ever do that. It's not even olive oil. It's canola oil, and they call it olive oil. I'm not kidding. It's really not olive oil. So go out of your way and spend the extra $4 for the big bottle of organic, something that has been known to be, they call it sourcing now, but we used to say from, now they say source, but something that you know the source of it, right? That's listed, that there's a company that's not like Shaw's or, Vaughn's or Safeway. Never get that olive oil. Anyway, put that olive oil in near the end. And then eat those, oh my God, those turnips, those turnip greens. You won't even believe, like, how did this become so good and gently sweet and savory? You won't even understand. Oh, you need some vinegar at the end. So I always use a little apple cider vinegar at the end. You got to have sour with your salt or it just, it doesn't quite balance. So that's all the stuff I'm going to be doing for the teeth. Plus the stuff you tell me to do when you send me information on my Facebook page, Liam Scheff. I think liamscheff.1 at Facebook. There are two of me, and they're both me. One of them is personal. One of them is, I don't know, whatever you call it, professional page. I said I was going to get to some other things, and so I am. That was collagen. We learned to make collagen. We're going to eat all the collagen foods. Oh, no, I screwed that up. There's a whole list of collagen foods that are all vegetarian. So you can eat eggs, and you can eat like zombie brain, placenta, whatever. If you go on a zombie rampage, just eat a lot of people. Sorry. Come on, give me the collagen page. I had this great collagen page. It was beautiful. It had these beautiful foods and pictures. Oh, here it is. wisegeek.org. Which foods contain the most collagen? Deriving its name from the Greek word collagen is indeed a vital element that helps keep the body functioning. All right, so kale, they list, aid the body in producing collagen and using protein. Doesn't contain collagen, aids, so it's a helpful producer, so eat lots of kale. Soy milk and other soybean-based foods contain genistein. Sounds like somebody I went to school with. Genistein, an element that aids in collagen production. Now you notice that in the vegetable foods we're helping to produce collagen, but if you just want to eat collagen, you have to eat like bone broths or eggs. Fresh cucumbers are high in sulfur, which is important to collagen production. Again, we're helping out. Beets, they just say beets are a source of collagen. Cantaloupe can help keep collagen levels high. I don't know how. Fresh celery stalks are rich in sulfur. Good. So we seeing this? Cashews are a good source of omega-3 fatty acids. I don't know what that has to do with that. Avocados will promote healthy production of collagen, it says. So these are things listed on the side, and they're very pretty. Foods that are rich in sulfur content are important to collagen production. Why? Green and black olives, fresh cucumbers, and fresh stalks of celery. Working in conjunction with sulfur, vegetables that are rich in vitamin A aid in keeping the collagen levels high. They're not really telling me the technical bits. I'd have to look this up. I don't know why sulfur aids in collagen production, but it's clearly part of the chemical reaction. We know we need vitamin C, we need vitamin A, so we eat lots of orange and yellow things, and keep eating vegetables and fruit, and medium low in the food chain. And if you eat big honking pieces of flesh, I don't know, you're just acidifying your body. But some people have almost convinced me, and I think they're right, that eating the organs of animals is probably okay for you sometimes. Small animals especially. But I watch people, like on these nature shows and wilderness shows, when they're starving, they go for these animals have these little dark purple livers, and they eat them, and they feel so much better and energized. And I get that. The thing is full of blood mass and dense nutrients that are probably hard to get in other ways. I get that. It's really hard to be a vegan. I'm not going to go start eating animals and livers and stuff like that. But I'm not going to start whatever. I have a friend was just trying to catch the show, can't seem to figure out how to listen in. I'm going to type the web page here. It is ucy.tv. If you just go to ucy.tv, you should hear the streaming show. I'm going to tell him that, and I'm going to answer his question. Hold on, http://ucy.tv should be streaming now. Okay. So this is a guy down here in South Florida. We're switching topics in the last 15 minutes. And he's a very nice guy. He's got a nice girlfriend. Good-looking couple. Hi, Liam. We are considering converting our vehicles to compressed natural gas. Any input? Do you know someone reputable that can do the conversions for us or show us how? We're very mechanically inclined, and we wouldn't be opposed to doing it ourselves with some input from someone knowledgeable. So think about that for a second. They have some cars. They want to convert them to natural gas. My initial reaction, to which I still hold more or less, is that's probably not a great idea. Why do I say that? Because it's hard to get. All right, think about why you'd be converting a car to run on. You'd be converting a car to run on something other than gasoline. So essentially, you get away from the oil companies. So you wouldn't be a subject slave of oil drilling as much, although you are a subject slave of oil drilling because everything we have is dependent on trucking. Everything we have in the country is dependent on trucks bringing it. Anything that's sold in any store came on a truck, period. So we're totally dependent on gasoline. But if you want a vehicle and you want to be able to run it without gasoline, natural gas is not something that we have access to. It's drilled for the same way that oil is drilled for. It's pulled up in a pipe. It's a gas. You can't pour it into a container and expect to have much of it there. It's highly diffuse, and in order to get it to be a liquid, chemical, refiners go through the process of compressing it with another set of chemicals and turning it into a liquid, which costs a lot of energy. It's difficult to liquefy natural gas. In order to ship natural gas as a liquid, you have to have specialty trucks that cool it to, and I could look it up right now, but I'll just say to an enormously cool temperature. You might even need dry ice, the equivalent of dry ice. You need very, very, very cold temperatures to turn this gas into a liquid. And the stuff is very explosive and volatile. Gasoline's bad enough, but sorry, I'm jumping across. Not, but natural gas is incredibly volatile, and it does. Where are you going to get it? Now, what would you recommend instead? I mean, what did I recommend to him? Out there in the world, you know exactly what I already said. Biodiesel. You want to convert. If you have a gasoline engine, it's going to be a little bit harder. A gasoline engine is not going to be able to burn diesel because the molecules in diesel are too long. So what's the difference between a gasoline engine and a diesel engine? It's a great and interesting bit of study, and I've been doing it recently, and I'm not an expert, so bear with me. But gasoline works, and it takes the gas, and it sprays it into a little holding chamber with an exposed electrical plug, and then it compresses it, and then it sparks, and that spark plug ignites that compressed aerosolized gas, and it goes poof, and that explosion, which happens many times a minute, many times, a couple times a second maybe, that explosion, which happens many times a minute, pushes a piston, another metal surface, outward, which drives a crank, which eventually moves your axle. Or I suppose you can have it hit the donkey with a paddle and that'll pull your car. But really, it'll just drive your axle. No, the internal combustion engine is the best machine that anybody ever invented to waste energy. It's the perfect energy wasting machine. It wastes 75 to 85% of the energy that you put into it in heat, through friction, mostly radiated heat. There's a little lost in, of course, wind shear and lack of aerodynamics. But if you make up for all of that, you're still not getting much more than 75% of the gasoline energy that you put in. Because you're wasting it in an explosion. You just constant. You know how hot cars are, right? You know how hot they are. Cars overheat on hot days. You're in your car. You run your car to stay warm. It's because as I say in the new book and the new video that I'm working on, a car is essentially a very expensive mobile heating device. Copyright Liam Scheff, 2015. But that's it. That's what a car is. Well, a diesel engine is a little bit better. A diesel engine doesn't have a spark plug. It uses a refined portion of oil that has longer chains of hydrogen and carbon. And it compresses those. And by compressing them, the stuff auto-ignites because the heat of the compression causes ignition. So you don't aerosolize it and turn it into and then put it in a chamber with a spark plug, so you don't lose that energy in putting it through the spark plug mechanism. So you save a certain percentage of energy. And diesel engines are estimated, I reckon, to get about 40% of their energy value out of the diesel fuel, which is pretty shit if you think about it. I mean, because that means that we've, on our best day, wasted 60% of the oil that we ever had by heating up our cars. And the truth is that we don't drive diesels over here. So we've wasted 75 to 85% of the gas that we've used to heat our cars. Not to move them, to warm them. I know. I know. I know. I know. I know. Now, if you get on the we'll fix the cars by making them aerodynamic, listen to what I'm saying. The internal combustion engine is the problem. It's not that the cars aren't aerodynamic enough. There's no way around this. They're really, in order to move something by exploding a gas, it's inevitable that you're going to waste most of the energy, because an explosion, a barely directed explosion, is not the most efficient way to produce energy. It's pure Promethean caveman stuff. And that's what we do. Anyway, so my local friend or acquaintance or nice guy here asked me this question. So what would you convert your car to? I'd convert it to biodiesel. Why? Not that everybody's going to have a biodiesel car. In fact, I don't even know if I do it for a car. I'd buy a used diesel motorbike. Why a motorbike? Because motorbikes already get 70 to 100 and something miles to the gallon. I'd get a diesel. I'd do the conversion kit, which you might not even have to, and I'd learn to make biodiesel out of canola oil and any other kind of oil, and most especially hemp. Do you know, I believe this is true. I read this and it was a reputable, it wasn't somebody just saying aliens invented everything, but it was Henry Ford, I believe the first Model Ts were built to run on gasoline or hemp oil, hemp, gas. And you can look that up. I think that that's true, and I'll re-reference it. And then it was only a few years into making the model, because gasoline from oil was in such abundance that he said, okay, we won't do the hemp thing anymore. I really doubt that's that's an urban legend. I think that that's actually true. The Model T was built to run on two fuels, probably a heavier gas, it might have been a diesel engine. I'll have to look that up, or hemp, which tells you, this stuff works. So I would convert it to hemp because hemp is what's going to be grown in this country within, a very few years. It's going to be difficult during great economic turndowns due to lack of flowing gasoline. And if you don't think that's going to happen, look over at the poor countries of Europe that don't have a buddy relationship with England and the United States. And you figure out, why they're pulling themselves around on horse carts. You figure that out. So it'll happen. The great fields of Saudi, we'll do this on another show, but the great fields of Saudi Arabia are most definitely on the decline. Nobody's shrugging their shoulders and saying we're not sure anymore. The new oil discoveries are all in deep sea, deep water. And, I can tell you that the cost of drilling on land was $1 million to build a simple well, 15 to build a very complex, well structure in a difficult terrain. You got to pay that money back. What does it cost to drill in the deep oceans? The new deep sea rigs cost up to 600, maybe over $600 million. So, we're talking factors of 600 to 200 to 600, incredible factors of price increase just to get to the stuff. If we manage to get to the stuff, which isn't a granted promise. But hemp grows everywhere. We will be growing hemp in this country. I do not strongly doubt it. I think that it will happen. I think that localities will break away from the national octopus, the fake government that's only held together by oil revenue. And I think that people go, we're growing hemp. We need it. We need the fibers. We need the oil. We have to feed people. We need the protein. We're growing hemp. Don't care if it looks like pot to you. And if it does, it cures cancer anyway. So fuck off. That was my one curse of the show, by the way. Get one good, chunky, chocolatey four-letter word for the show. That was mine. We got to grow hemp in this country. And I want to advocate that the people, my friends who march against Monsanto, we really have to start marching for something. I think hemp is the thing that we march for. I think that growing hemp, and not legalizing pot, but growing hemp is the thing that we fight really hard for, because they can have no meaningful argument against it. Their arguments can be loud, but they won't be meaningful. Hemp is a nutritional plant, it's an industrial plant, and it can keep us in short pants. It can even give us some fuel, not for 250 million cars, the amount on the roads today, but for motorbikes and to keep the trucks moving, because we're going to need them. You've got to keep those trucks moving. To keep the tractors moving. I mean, for God's sake, if for nothing else than to make the tractors work, we need hemp fuel. Now, don't tell me stop it. We're not going to feed 320 million people on permaculture. We don't know how to do it. Nobody knows how to do it. Some people will figure out how to feed themselves on permaculture. I hope to be among those people enjoying. I don't know that I'll ever be one of the ones totally doing it, but I'll certainly enjoy your company. In the meantime, let's start to be realistic about this. We're really heading into a decline. So I think hemp is far more important than pot. And I think that converting to biodiesel is a great idea, but I would do it on a motorcycle. I know that everybody wants to convert their car, but I would do it on a motorcycle. Why? Easy to fix. Parts tend to be, manufactured. They're not as complex as new cars, and you generally only have to replace a tube or two, and you can even, buy a couple extra engines and just have them as spares without buying a whole new bike. This is the Liam Scheff Show on Truth Frequency Radio and UCY TV. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. Let me do an advertisement for myself. I am the author of several books. Some of them I really only sell when I'm at, what are those things called where you go and speak? Conferences? Yeah. Festivals, I almost said. When I'm at festivals. I used to go to a lot more festivals because they used to have this thing called what was that called? The Health Freedom something. And it was a lot of fun. And it was run by this really funny, cute, very, very, very Christian lady. His name Julie. And I would go up and say three things to her, and she'd look at me. And she reminded me of Samantha from Bewitched. And she would like wrinkle in her nose in slight disapproval, And I'd think, thank you for putting all this on, Julie. I really appreciate it. But apparently they sort of went bust, because you don't make money selling tickets to people telling you how to get better by not taking pharmaceuticals. There's a labor of love, and I hope they come back to it. So anyway, they used to have those Health Freedom Expos, and it was great fun. I'd have a great time, and I'd get to talk and sell books. And there's some books that I would only sell there. Like I have a poster book that goes with my book, and it's fun, and people like it. When they see the talk, they want to buy the poster book, and it's harder to sell that when you're not there seeing the talk and getting excited about all of the information. I know that sounded like pure advertising bullshit, but people do. You hear about all this stuff, you get a little bit excited, like, wow, CIA, JFK, 9/11, vaccination, HIV, Shakespeare, Darwinism, there was no Big Bang, plate tectonics seems kind of hooey, and what was the last one? Oh, plate tectonics also seems, did I just say that? Kind of crazy. I think I said that twice. So that's all in my book, Official Stories. But I had Official Stories poster book, and people would buy that. That's still up there. You can buy that on Amazon or CreateSpace. But Official Stories, everybody would buy that, and they really liked it. I just got a note that a guy who works in radio is a friend of a friend. Just read it for the second time and liked it even more. So that's my advertisement for myself. Go buy a book, support independent journalism. Support me, Liam Scheff. Go to my webpage, liamscheff.com. Friend me on Facebook. Friend yourself on Facebook. And remember, the collagen you save may be your own. See you next week.